last week you said there was 4 in LA, for instance.
Yeah, 4 Batei Din.
How many? 4 Batei Din. How many different rabbis will in LA will work with you and be the converting rabbi?
Well, they're almost always the rabbi of an Orthodox synagogue. So there are probably 30 Orthodox synagogues with their own rabbi in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah.
So 30 plus.
30 plus. So bear in mind, when you start this project, you might want to pick the rabbi who's going to reflect what you want to do when you come out the other end.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be, you know, a modern Orthodox, and you're a guy, you don't want to shave, and you whatever, you want to run around with Metallica t-shirts, maybe if you found a rabbi coming in who dresses like that or is cool with that, that's where you want to go. You want to come out Chabad, you probably want to go in Chabad.
Think of this as you're going to be being birthed by this rabbi.
Yeah, that's a good way. All right, so that answers that. And then I want to get into this. This was a major thing that was going on in the chat room last week, and it's carried over. And I'm being asked this, and I'm thinking this is like the #1 biggest topic, and it deserves some time.
If you got the time, we've got the beer.
We got the beer. The topic is, and you talked about it last week on your position on it, but now I'm going to present my position on it. And the topic is, if you don't get an Orthodox conversion, what he calls Orthodox, I don't like that word, but if you don't get a kosher conversion, can you settle, let's say settle, for a conversion that's performed by the conservative movement or the reform movement or some other type of movement? We heard last week Levi's opinion, now you're going to hear mine. And my answer is, you should not. You should definitely not. And I'm going to give you real reasons, 2 major reasons why you should not. And here they go. And you may tell me that you don't really care. It doesn't matter to you if you get a from one, from somebody who's you call Orthodox, or if you get one from conservative. It makes no difference to you. But you know who is going to care, and I'll tell you who's going to care. Your kids are going to care. And I want you to pay attention to this. They will grow up, and you're going to be telling them that they're Jews. And they're absolutely going to believe that they are Jews. And the same goes, by the way, when people get intermarried. When people get intermarried, and it's a guy, a Jewish guy marries a non-Jewish woman. Same thing applies. He tells the kids that they're Jews, but they're not, because the woman never had a kosher conversion, or maybe she didn't even bother to convert at all. The kids are not. The kids are goyim, and it's better to tell these kids the truth and tell them that they are goyim and they're not Jews, because here is the danger of lying to them, misleading them, misrepresenting them, and telling those kids of yours that they're Jews because you didn't have a kosher conversion. Here's what happens 18 years later. Kid grows up, wants to go, gets into Judaism. And I have seen this happen repeatedly, and it is heartbreaking. The kid grows up, 15, 16, 17, his parents are, go to the conservative thing. He grew up in the conservative temple, or the Reform temple, and he got into it. The kid got into it, decides he's going to go to yeshiva. He wants to go to yeshiva. He says, Mom, Dad, I'm going to go to yeshiva. And everybody's like, oh, that's wonderful. And the yeshiva denies the kid entrance because he's not a Jew. And that's horrible. And the kid is not a Jew. Now, if the kid's father is a real Jew, that's much better for him, because they can get him into a conversion much faster. That's a whole thing. But if the father, let's say, is also got some bogus conversion, this kid has no Jewish blood in him whatsoever. No one's under any obligation to try to convert him, and they won't. And it's just, he's going to have to start from ground zero and start the process himself. He's going to have to get himself into a community with an Orthodox rabbi and work with the Orthodox rabbi starting from step one. But you know what? I have found they won't do it. Instead, what happens, I have found probably more often than not, is the kid becomes an anti-Semite. And I'm serious about this. The kid hates and starts resenting Jews and Judaism because he feels lied to. He feels that the Frumies are terrible people. They won't accept him as a Jew. But it's not the Frumies' fault. It's not the yeshiva's fault. What do you want the yeshiva to do? We have a halacha that we're not supposed to, just open the doors and let all the non-Jews learn with us. So what do you want the yeshiva to do? It's not our fault. It's the fault of the parent for not telling the kid and not raising him with what the truth is to the kid and say, look, you're not Jewish. That's the problem. Or saying to themselves, I'm really not a Jew. And that is the problem. When you get a non-Orthodox conversion, you're essentially lying to yourself when you say that you are a Jew. And for that reason, I see no benefit in getting a non-Orthodox conversion. My view is you either get a kosher conversion or you get no conversion and you focus on the Noahide laws. And we're going to talk about that next week, hopefully. But there's not one iota in me of belief that it's a good idea to get a non-kosher one. Now, and I'm going to say more about it. Can I say more about it?
Yes.
Okay. I want to say more about it. Here's the other point. The point is, why would somebody go to a non-Orthodox institution and get converted there? I don't understand this. According to Orthodoxy, according to Judaism, Reform and conservative are anti-Judaism. They go against Judaism. They've rebelled against Judaism. Why would somebody go to something that has rebelled against Judaism and when they say, oh, you've converted to us, you haven't converted to Judaism, you've converted to the opposite of Judaism. I'm going to give it, for instance, it's probably going to get me in a lot of trouble here, but I don't care, I want to say it. You wouldn't go to a Catholic church or to Jews for Jesus or to the Messianics, some Messianic church and say, I want to become a Jew. I mean, I'm serious. You wouldn't go to Jews for Jesus is not a stepping stone to Orthodoxy. Jews for Jesus is not a step towards Orthodoxy. It's not a stepping stone. And you're laughing at me, but I'm telling you the truth, okay? I'm telling you the truth. Reform doesn't even believe in God, okay? The Reform doesn't believe in God. Am I right?
Some do, some don't. I went to plenty of Reform rabbis believe in God and plenty do not.
They don't, but in
Reform Judaism does believe in God, but it may not be the conception of God that...
Do they believe in Mount Sinai?
Some believe that there was the divine reached down to humanity at Mount Sinai.
Really?
Yeah.
Because if you look in their Reform, not conservative, but if you look in the Reform
books,
it's the foundation for atheism.
They don't believe that the Torah was given by God at Mount Sinai, and even if it was, they don't believe that that would necessarily bind us to observe it today.
I believe...
But a lot of their women are really hot.
I believe, based on the charters of what they purport to believe, this is how I interpret it, they are much closer to atheism than they are to Judaism. If you go into a Reform temple and you say, I don't believe that I know for a fact there's no God, no problem.
Have you ever been in a Reform temple?
No. But if I were to go in, okay. I'd say I don't believe in God, right. And I know there's no God.
Yeah.
I would be okay there, based on what they purport to believe in.
You can go to a lot of Orthodox schools and say, I don't believe in God.
No, if you don't believe in God in a